The deadliest medieval weapons and how they were used, a journey through the arsenal of the Middle Ages. The medieval period, spanning from the 5th to the 15th century, is often characterized by its turbulent battles, feudal conflicts, and iconic warriors. Central to these historical clashes were the weapons that shaped the outcomes of battles and, by extension, the fate of entire nations. Understanding the deadliest medieval weapons and how they were used offers a fascinating insight into the tactics, innovations, and brutal realities of warfare in the Middle Ages. Let us explore some of the most formidable weapons of the time, detailing their design, usage, and the deadly impact they had on the battlefield. 1. The longbow, the archer's advantage. One of the most iconic and deadly weapons of the medieval era was the longbow, a powerful tool that revolutionized medieval warfare. Unlike the crossbow, which required a mechanical aid to draw, the longbow relied on the strength and skill of the archer. Made primarily of yew wood, longbows were typically around 6 feet tall and capable of shooting arrows over 200 yards. What made the longbow particularly lethal was its ability to penetrate armor from a significant distance. The longbow's impact was most famously demonstrated during the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, where English archers, using longbows, decimated the French cavalry. The arrows could penetrate chainmail and, with enough force, even plate armor, rendering knights vulnerable. The speed and range of the longbow allowed archers to remain relatively safe while picking off advancing enemies, turning battles in favor of those who mastered its use. In addition, the longbow's rapid rate of fire, an experienced archer could shoot up to 12 arrows per minute, provided a significant tactical advantage, making it a feared weapon throughout Europe. 2. The warhammer, blunt force trauma. While the longbow was ideal for ranged attacks, the warhammer was a close combat weapon designed for a different kind of destruction. This weapon emerged as a direct response to the increasing use of plate armor, which rendered many traditional swords less effective. The warhammer featured a hammerhead on one side and a spike on the other, allowing it to crush armor or pierce through it with a concentrated blow. Warhammers were favored by knights and foot soldiers alike for their ability to inflict blunt force trauma, breaking bones and damaging internal organs even without penetrating the armor. In the chaos of melee combat, a single swing of a warhammer could incapacitate or kill an enemy instantly. The weapon's compact size and relatively light weight also allowed for greater maneuverability in close quarters, making it a versatile tool in battle. Unlike swords, which required precision, the warhammer could be wielded with brute strength, making it a favorite among those looking to deal maximum damage with minimal effort. 3. The crossbow, the equalizer of warfare. The crossbow was another formidable weapon that changed the dynamics of medieval warfare. Unlike the longbow, the crossbow required less physical strength to operate, as it used a mechanical mechanism to draw the string. This allowed soldiers with minimal training to deliver lethal shots with significant force, making it a crucial equalizer on the battlefield. The crossbow could shoot bolts with enough power to pierce chainmail and even some forms of plate armor, giving infantrymen a chance against heavily armored knights. However, the crossbow had its limitations. It had a slower rate of fire compared to the longbow due to the time required to draw the string and load the bolt. Despite this, its ease of use and powerful impact made it a staple in medieval arsenals. During the Siege of Acre in 1191, crossbowmen played a critical role in repelling enemy forces from the fortified walls, demonstrating the weapon's strategic importance in both offensive and defensive scenarios. 4. The Morning Star, a weapon of terror. The Morning Star was a terrifying weapon that combined the features of a mace with the added lethality of spikes. Consisting of a spiked metal ball attached to a handle, the Morning Star was designed to maximize damage with each strike. When swung, the momentum generated by the heavy ball could crush helmets, break bones, and puncture flesh, making it one of the most fearsome close combat weapons of the Middle Ages. The psychological impact of the Morning Star was almost as significant as its physical damage. The sight of a spiked ball hurtling toward an enemy would have been enough to instill fear, potentially causing hesitation or retreat. The weapon's ability to inflict severe injuries with minimal contact made it especially useful in chaotic battle conditions where precision was less important than raw power and intimidation. 5. The Trebuchet, siege warfare's ultimate weapon. When it came to siege warfare, few weapons were as iconic or as deadly as the Trebuchet. Unlike a simple catapult, the Trebuchet used a counterweight mechanism to hurl massive projectiles, such as stones or flaming debris, over long distances with incredible force. The primary role of the Trebuchet was to breach the walls of enemy fortifications, collapsing defenses and opening the way for ground assaults. Trebuchets were used extensively during sieges in the medieval period, with some of the most famous examples being the Siege of Kenilworth Castle in 1266 and the Siege of Acre in 1189 to 1191. Capable of launching projectiles weighing up to 300 pounds, the Trebuchet could reduce castle walls to rubble and cause widespread panic among defenders. The psychological and physical devastation wrought by these machines made them an essential component of medieval siege strategy. 6. The Halberd, versatility on the battlefield. The halberd was a versatile pole weapon that combined the features of an axe, a spear, and a hook. This multifunctional weapon could be used to slash, stab, or hook opponents, making it a favorite among infantrymen facing mounted knights. The halberd's long reach allowed soldiers to keep enemies at a distance, while its heavy axe blade could cut through armor and flesh alike. The halberd became particularly prominent in the 14th and 15th centuries as it was effective against both mounted and unmounted foes. The hook on the back of the weapon was designed to pull riders off horses, while the spear tip could be used to thrust at approaching enemies. Its versatility and relatively low cost made the halberd a popular choice among foot soldiers, allowing them to counter the threat posed by knights effectively. 7. The sword, the quintessential weapon of the knight. No discussion of medieval weapons would be complete without mentioning the sword, the quintessential weapon of the medieval knight. Swords came in various shapes and sizes, from the short, single-handed arming sword to the long, two-handed greatsword. The sword was a symbol of status and chivalry, often passed down through generations, and revered for its craftsmanship and utility. The effectiveness of the sword depended largely on the skill of the wielder. Knights underwent rigorous training to master the art of swordplay, and their swords were often customized to their fighting style and physique. The two-handed longsword, for example, was particularly effective in dismounted combat, offering reach and power, while the arming sword was favored for its speed and agility in one-on-one encounters. 8. The battle axe, a symbol of brutality and strength. The battle axe was another formidable weapon of the Middle Ages, favored for its sheer brute force. Unlike swords, which required a certain finesse, the battle axe was a weapon of raw power, capable of cleaving through armor, wood, and bone. The battle axe was particularly favored by Vikings and later by foot soldiers in various European armies. Axes varied in size and design, from the smaller hand axes used in one hand to the massive two-handed axes that could deliver devastating blows. The Dane axe, with its long handle and wide blade, was especially notorious for its use in the hands of the fierce Viking warriors and English housecarls during the early medieval period. Its ability to deliver heavy blows made it ideal for breaking through the shields and armor of enemy soldiers. The impact of medieval weaponry on warfare. The medieval period was a time of constant innovation and adaptation in weaponry, driven by the changing nature of warfare, advances in technology, and the evolution of armor. Each of these weapons played a critical role in shaping the tactics and outcomes of battles across Europe and beyond. From the precision of the longbow to the brute force of the warhammer, from the versatile halberd to the psychological terror of the morning star, these weapons were instrumental in defining the strategies and outcomes of countless medieval conflicts. Understanding how these weapons were used not only provides insight into the military strategies of the Middle Ages, but also offers a glimpse into the lives and challenges faced by those who wielded them. For both the knights and the common foot soldiers, these tools of war were not just instruments of death, but symbols of power, survival, and the relentless human drive to dominate and defend. Thanks for listening. Like and comment. And please subscribe, as that will help us get more videos out to those interested in the Middle Ages. See you next time on Medieval Chronicles 1066. Stay curious.